What's going on? How's everyone doing?
Shout out to Tom. Everybody else who's cool with Tom.
Chucky! I didn't say.
Get your popcorn and your Coca-Cola and relax.
Anyway, tell Colin I'm ready.
What's going on? This is Colin. How's everybody doing? I hope you're having a great night so far. Happy Sunday. I hope you had a great weekend. Hope you guys all had a great, safe, and fun, enjoyable, relaxing weekend. All right. It is Sunday night, which means we are back. I want to watch some court. You guys want to watch some court? Let's watch some court. All right. It is Sunday night, and we are just playing some random clips tonight. They're all good. Don't worry. Not scratching the bottom of the barrel. So we got some good clips. Hope you enjoy them. Yeah, that's it. Let's just get into it. Before I hit that play button, you know what to do. Hit the like and subscribe. Do your jump kick backflips. Let's go.
In the state of Ohio versus Cassandra Renee Kuhar, case number 25 TRC 90. On February 11th, 2025, Ms. Kuhar pled not guilty to one count of driving under OVI suspension, a second offense in 10 years, a first-degree misdemeanor, one count of driving under OVI suspension, a first-degree misdemeanor, one count of fictitious plates, a fourth-degree misdemeanor, one count of no operator's license.
Heather!
No operator's license, a minor misdemeanor, and no count of failure to control, a minor misdemeanor. This case is set for a first pretrial conference. Ms. Kuhar is present. She's represented by her attorney, Mafid Sayed. Also present is Law Director John Lewis. Court is in receipt of a pretrial report. Mr. Lewis.
Thank you, Your Honor. The offer that's been extended to Ms. Kuhar would be...
Yeah, I was over there when that happened. But I have one question. For anyone that was over there during that, is that what it looks like from the chat's perspective when it happens to me? Does it just go blank like that? That's all I want to know.
To plead to the OVI charge, second and 10. Also to plead to the driving under OVI suspension charge. With pleas on those two charges, the state of Ohio rather, would dismiss the remainder of the balance of the charges at the defendant's cost, and the state would also recommend the mandatory minimums on the OVI and the driving under OVI suspension. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sayed.
Graham, you can post it in my Discord. My Discord link is in the description of this video, or one of my mods will probably drop it within a second or two.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, in no way, we're going to be asking for a second retrial, and the only reason is because Ms. Kuhar is in charge of 3 small children, one of them being hers. She has custody of the other 2. She needs to get some things in order with finding a sitter, with her job as well. So at this moment, she is taking the offer under advisement, but still ask the court for a second retrial.
I did order Ms. Kuhar to undergo an alcohol drug assessment at the Lake Area Recovery Center and successfully comply with any recommended course of treatment. I have not received a report from LARC. Can you advise on the status of that?
She has a meeting at 1 o'clock with a counselor from LARC.
For an assessment? Is that her first meeting with LARC?
It's my second one.
Your second meeting?
Yes. They had to make an appointment, and the appointment didn't work with how the scheduling of the other stuff I had to do.
So that's at 1 o'clock today. That's in 15 minutes.
Well, she has to probably do it at 1, but she said 1:30 is fine.
What's the status of the case? I think there's a pending case in Western County Court.
There is, Your Honor. Ms. Kuhar failed to show up for her arraignment. She did call to court. She's going to receive a new court date for the Western County Court.
I think I addressed that with her at the time she was in court on February 11th.
Biggin! Thank you so much for the raid, my friend. I appreciate it. Welcome to all the raiders. We just started the video tonight, and nothing's really happened yet. We have just a random collection of court cases tonight. They're all relatively short. I think the longest one might be 10 minutes. So there's nothing really to say. We just got into this one, so you didn't miss anything. But Biggin, thank you so much for the raid, and welcome to the raiders. You guys are awesome. All right, let's go.
You're saying that still has not, that warrant has not been resolved yet?
As far as from the website, no, it's still an active warrant. They indicated to her that the warrant's going to be ongoing until she shows up to court.
Okay. So I addressed this with her on February 11th. Today is March 3rd. Approximately 3 weeks later. So that warrant has not been resolved. Why hasn't she shown up to Western County Court to try to resolve the warrant?
Yeah. One, she doesn't have a license anymore. She's having a hard time finding a job. She does also work full-time while supporting 3 children, two of them not being...
Why hasn't she gone to Western County Court to resolve the warrant? That's all. Why?
She just hasn't made time.
Do you want my bailiff to take you into custody? I addressed this with you 3 weeks ago when you were here.
She says she's going to send me a court date in the mail.
Your attorney just said you have to show up to resolve the warrant.
Yeah, I talked to her on the phone. She said she's going to send me a court date and the warrant will stay until I show up at the court date.
When did she tell you that?
Just a week and a half ago.
You're talking about a clerk from Western County Court.
Yes, sir.
Are you guys representing, is the public defender representing her in that case?
I would assume so, Your Honor. I believe Tia would be handling that.
Ms. Kuhar, you're facing very serious charges, not only here, but in Western County Court. Get your head on straight and get the warrant resolved. You have children, you have a job. Apparently you're meeting those responsibilities. Show up, go there, resolve the warrant. If you come back here again next time and that warrant is still in place, I'm taking you into custody. And I expect to receive an assessment report from LARC by the time of the next pretrial conference. Okay, I will go ahead and set this case for a second pretrial conference. Bond is previously set in an amount of $10,000 personal recognizance. The defendant is ordered not to consume or possess alcohol or drugs. She is subject to random chemical testing. She is subject to an alcohol drug assessment at LARC and successfully comply with any recommended course of treatment. Anything further, Mr. Lewis?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Sayaj?
Not at this time, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. This matter is concluded. Ms. Kuhar, you'll go to the clerk's window and they'll give you a date and time for your next hearing.
Yeah, go resolve your warrant. Don't come back without it resolved. You got a mild yell from the judge tonight. Or this happened, I don't know, Wednesday. I have no idea. All right. Yeah, we're just gonna keep rolling. Like I said, these are all rather short clips, so let's just keep going. There's no real intro needed.
On the record is a matter of the City of Riverview versus Cynthia Rodriguez, 2530.
Right.
All right, I'm going to answer this because a lot of people brought it up since it happened to Biggin. My internet has not gone out like that in over a week. So I'm thinking it's resolved. Whatever the issue was, resolved itself, I guess, or they found it and fixed it and didn't let me know. I have no idea. But it hasn't happened to me in a week, so I'm looking forward to it being resolved. Bacon had a problem with electricity. It wasn't necessarily his internet. His power just went out. At least that's what I think I heard. Toby, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate it. Thank you, my friend. You are awesome. Okay, let's go. Judge DeSanto. I forgot her name for a second.
Good morning, Your Honor. I'm on behalf of Cynthia Rodriguez. Ms. Rodriguez, please state your name.
Cynthia Rodriguez.
Thank you.
All right, good morning. Okay, and yeah, next time you need to make sure you have clothing appropriate that's covering up your midsection. Okay. All right, and today is the date scheduled for the arraignment pretrial on this matter, and counsel.
I live in his basement. I don't know if that counts as roommates. He doesn't know I'm here though. So yeah, that's why I always stream, after him, because this is when he goes and eats dinner. So I can at least make some noise, and hopefully he won't hear me. But yeah, no, I've been in his basement for 3 years. He just hasn't found me yet. Michael, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate it, my friend. You are awesome. Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor. I've had an opportunity to review this matter with respect to the arraignment, my client waives formal reading and stands mute to the charge.
The court waives the formal reading, enter plea of not guilty for purposes of the arraignment, and as to the pretrial.
As to the pretrial, I've had an opportunity to review this with the city attorney today and with Ms. Rodriguez. She's prepared to offer a guilty plea to the amended charge of failing to display valid ops. The original offense of driving license suspended would be dismissed.
All right, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right, and you heard the plea that your attorney placed on the record, correct? I'm sorry?
Yes.
Is that yes?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing. Okay. And as to the amended charge of failure to display a valid license, how do you plead?
Not guilty.
That was a joke. I do not live in Biggins' basement. Biggin lives in Georgia. I live in Ohio. I live in an apartment all by myself. So yeah, no basement living here. Even though I'm not shaming that. I did live in I lived in my parents' basement after, like, I was still in school. I moved out right after my senior year of high school. Moved in with a couple friends on campus, and moved back after about 2 years because I was broke, and I lived in their basement for about 1.5 years. So yeah, the internet sucked there. So yeah, I'm used to the internet sucking.
The amended charge?
Guilty.
You're accepting responsibility for this?
Yeah.
Okay, then the plea would be guilty.
Okay. And you understand, you've gone over your advice of rights with your attorney, correct?
Yes.
And you understand all of those rights?
Yes.
You also understand by entering into a plea that you'll be waiving some of those rights?
Yes.
And you understand the possible penalty as a result of your plea, whether in this court, any other court, or administrative agency?
Yes.
Knowing all of that, do you want to continue with your plea?
Yes.
And has anybody promised you anything, threatened you, or coerced you in any way for you to enter into a plea?
No.
And any immigration issues?
No.
All right, counsel, if you can please run to your client.
Yes, I will. Mr. Rodriguez, do you remember being in this city of Riverview day after Christmas last year?
Yes.
At the time, you were behind the wheel of a 2019 Dodge Charger, is that correct?
Yes.
And the police officers from the city of Riverview approached you. You apparently had run out of gas. You, at that time, were unable to produce a valid driver's license at the request of the officer, is that correct?
Yes.
I'm satisfied, Your Honor.
The court is also satisfied the plea is knowing, voluntary, and factually accurate. The court will accept your plea to the amended charge. And
all right, I have paused it out a lot tonight, but I'm not going to apologize for this pause because I'm so happy to see Tallglass here. Tallglass, it has been a minute. I've noticed you've been popping back around a few of the Detroit courts, and I love seeing your name. Every time I see your name, I get a giant smile on your face. It is so good to see you. I hope you're doing well, and thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight.
dismiss the original charge per the plea agreement. And counsel, as to sentencing.
Yes, that's, we asked for immediate sentencing on this. Mrs. Rodriguez, she's a young lady. She's got some issues with her, she never received a driver's license, and she was working on this. She's gone and paid various fines and whatnot. And she has no criminal history that I'm aware of. I think that fines and costs would be appropriate sentence in this matter.
All right, so ma'am, you don't have a valid license. Why are you driving?
I think that day I was supposed to go to the bank,
Okay, that doesn't answer the question as to why you were driving. Why didn't you have somebody else take you to the bank?
I couldn't have somebody else.
Why not?
Because I'm on my own.
Okay. What do you mean by that? You don't have any family or friends that live around you?
Well, yeah, but they have their own stuff going on.
Okay, and ma'am, you don't have a valid license. So you're not allowed to drive. If they have things going on, then that's why you arrange ahead of time for somebody to take you somewhere. And were you depositing a check?
I was taking out money.
Okay, well, there's an ATM, right? That you can go to or walk to or get a ride to or something, but you're not allowed to drive. How'd you get here today?
Got an Uber.
So you should have taken an Uber to the bank. Where is it you work?
I work at Chroma emergency department.
Okay, which one?
Dearborn.
How do you get back and forth to work?
My mom or Uber.
Okay. So ma'am, have you contacted the Secretary of State to find out what it would be for you to get your license back?
Yeah, I think 2028.
I'm sorry?
I think 2028, that's when I'll be able.
2028?
Yeah, that's what they told.
Okay, so ma'am, I know that seems far away, but let me just clue you in on something. The more that you continue to drive without a valid license, the longer away it's going to be because it's just going to get pushed out, pushed out, pushed out.
Okay.
So please stop driving without a license,
Okay.
okay? Because I'll say this as well, you don't have a valid license, so you don't have an insurance company that's going to cover you. So if you get into an accident, then it's going to be your personal financial money that has to pay for that. And what is going on with your matters out of Taylor? Have you taken care of those warrants?
I believe not though.
What's that?
No.
No, well, you need to.
Okay.
I'm not really sure, ma'am, what's going on as to why you think that you don't have to appear in court in the 23rd District Court, or why you can drive without having a bank or having a license. And you want me to believe that you brought an Uber? There's no talking in court. You want me to believe you took an Uber here and you did not drive?
Yes.
And so your car is not out in the parking lot?
No.
Is somebody else's car out in the parking lot that you brought here?
No.
Whose car were you driving that day?
My car.
Your car. And so what kind of car is it?
2019 Dodge.
Man, Taylor, Michigan. I love it every time I visit Taylor. It's like every time I'm in the area, I stop by and say hi to Judge Slavin. But I'm going to tell you this: Telegraph Road. I believe that's the name of it. Where that big blue bridge right off the highway that you take to get to the courthouse. I think I can't even remember what the highway number is, but that portion of road that you can't turn left at, you have to do those weird left turn at those lights. I do not like those. I do not like those at all. And I see why they have so many traffic tickets there. It's not only annoying, it's confusing. But I guess if you live there, it might be easier. But even though the intersection right under that bridge, man, Taylor, if you're going to the next century with your logistics and engineering, you got to let some people know, because that is confusing to anyone that doesn't drive that every day.
So you bought a car without even having a valid license?
Yes.
And you don't have a valid license for 3 more years?
Yes.
So then why do you still have a car? Why haven't you sold it then?
What was that?
Why do you still have a car? You don't have a valid right to drive one. So I don't even know how, is the car in your name?
Yes.
And the Secretary of State allowed you to register a vehicle without having a valid license?
It's under my boyfriend.
Well, that's why I just asked, is it in your name?
It's in my, everything, the loan, everything is under my name.
The loan is in your name, but the registration is in your boyfriend's name?
Yeah.
Okay. And so what color is it?
Black.
And it's not out in the parking lot?
No.
All right, we're gonna do a double check. And you're sure we're not gonna find it out there? Is there any other car that you drove here?
No.
Are we sure about that?
I have a different car, it's a Jeep 2021.
And that's out in the parking lot?
Yes, that one.
Okay. So you didn't take an Uber here?
No, I'm gonna take one back.
You must not want your license at any point. You are here in court for driving without a license. And you drove to court. Does any of that make sense to do?
Yeah, she not only drove to court, she lied to the judge, at least 2 times, if not 3. Her mom dropped her off, she took an Uber. Your stories. Everyone knew she drove. She said she's going to take an Uber home. How much do you bet she just walked out of that courthouse, got in her car, and drove away?
Does that make sense to you?
No.
Then why did you do it?
I didn't have nobody else to take me here.
Well, your choice of an Uber that you lied to me about, that sounded like a good choice. Why didn't you take an Uber? Why didn't you take an Uber?
I'm gonna take one back, I'm not sure.
That doesn't answer my question. Why didn't you take one here?
I wasn't thinking.
Wrong. That's wrong. You were thinking that you really don't have any respect for the law because you're going to continue to drive. That's what that tells me. And it also tells me that you didn't make proper accommodations to get a ride here today. It also tells me that you probably drive back and forth to work on a regular basis. And that the majority of what you said to the court is not honest. What did you think I was going to do if you told me from jump that you drove here?
I'm not sure.
Well, you must have thought something because you told me a lie. Did you think I was sending you to jail?
No.
Well, then why didn't you just tell me the truth that you drove here?
Because I didn't want my car taken away again.
Well, then perhaps you shouldn't have driven here. You are not going to be permitted to leave unless you're picked up by an Uber or somebody else. And then you have to make arrangements for somebody to come get the car. Because if it's still here at 5 o'clock, it will likely get towed. And if you're the one coming back to drive in it, you will likely be arrested and the car will be towed.
Okay.
Am I making myself clear?
Yes.
Don't lie to the court again. Because I will hold you in contempt of court.
Okay.
The court's going to order a $400 fine, $200 cost of prosecution, crime victim assessment fee of $75, justice system assessment fee of $50, for a total of $725. Can you commit to paying $50 per month on that?
Yeah.
Is that yes?
Yes.
And can you begin that next Friday, March 14th?
Yes.
I suggest you have a seat in the lobby, ma'am, and you make arrangements for somebody to pick up your car.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Have a good day. Okay.
All right, what do you guys think? You think she drove home, or do you think she Ubered? I'm guessing that they had a tight eye on her They were watching. She probably knew it. Hopefully, she Ubered home. I watched the rest of that docket like a hawk, waiting for the court to bring her back in because she tried to drive home. They didn't do it, which makes me think that she actually did Uber home. But who knows? Who knows? Anyways, let's catch up on these real quick. Terry Barnes, good to see you as always. Don't lie to Judge DeSanto; it will not end well. Absolutely. Don't lie to any judge, but Judge DeSanto, don't play with her. Parrot Court for 7 months. Thank you so much, Parrot Court. Good to see you. C Dumps for 13 months. C Dumps, that is awesome. Thank you so much, C Dumps. And Random New York Lawyer, thank you so much for becoming a new member. Welcome to the family. Thank you so much. All right, let's keep going. I don't know what's next, guys. I really don't. Sleepy time.
Good afternoon in the Nisqually Jail. What is your name, please?
Or
Your Honor, I believe this may be Reginald Ford, who was booked in as John Doe.
Oh, I see. Thank you. Sir, your true name is Reginald Ford? Sir, can you hear me?
Reginald Ford.
Okay. What is your date of birth?
1394.
I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing you.
1394.
Okay. All right. So your true name is Reginald Dwayne Ford? Is that a yes?
Yeah.
Your date of birth is October 13th, 1994?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, sir. And it appears that you are before the court for arraignment under case number 25L000488. City of Lakewood has charged you by way of criminal complaint with making a false or misleading statement to a public servant. Ms. Capone, are you prepared to proceed with Mr. Ford's arraignment at this time?
Your Honor, Mr. Ford and I spoke briefly, but didn't get through all of his rights. So if he would like the opportunity to speak with me again, I'm happy to entertain a breakout room, but I don't know that we're ready to proceed on arraignment.
All right. Mr. Ford, would you like an opportunity to speak with your attorney before going forward with your arraignment?
Sure.
Was that a yes?
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and put you in a breakout room. You may need to ask the officer to assist you in getting into that breakout room so that you can speak privately with Ms. Capone.
Never mind.
You don't want to speak with your attorney?
No.
All right. So Ms. Capone, do you want to go ahead and proceed with your arraignment?
Well, Your Honor, because I didn't have the opportunity to speak with Mr. Ford about all of his rights, I can't test or say that he understands them, but we have received a copy of the complaint. We'll waive a formal reading, and I wouldn't be contesting probable cause for today's purposes. Again, without having gone through his rights, I don't know that I can say without his approval that we enter a not guilty plea, but that would be my request as an attorney. If the court would like to advise him on his rights, then I would have no objection to that.
Thank you. So, yeah, we're going to need to do an advice of rights. So, Mr. Ford, as somebody who is charged with a criminal offense, you have the following rights. You have the right to be represented by an attorney. If you're screened eligible, an attorney will be appointed for you. Otherwise, you will have to retain an attorney to represent you. You're presumed innocent of any charge until the charge is proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You have a right to a speedy trial. If you're in jail, it's within 60 days of arraignment. If you're out of custody, it's within 90 days. You have a constitutional right to a jury trial unless you waive that right. You have the right to confront witnesses. You have the right to call witnesses on your own behalf, the right to testify on your own behalf. You also have the right to remain silent. You have the right to a fair trial before an impartial judge. You have the right to appeal any finding of guilty by a trial by jury or judge within 30 days of entry of judgment. If you plead guilty, all those rights are given up. If you're not a citizen of the United States, the conviction could result in deportation or exclusion or other negative immigration consequences. You do have the right to consult with an immigration attorney prior to proceeding. I'm going to indicate that for the record, all of these rights have been provided to Mr. Ford on the record. At this point in time, the court is going to enter a plea of not guilty for Mr. Ford. The court will waive formal reading of the charge, the criminal complaint charging with one count of making a false or misleading statement to a public servant. The court will turn to Mr. Graham regarding a factual basis to support the charge.
Yes, Your Honor. Let me pull up my Your Honor, on March 2nd, 2025, at approximately 14:15 hours, an individual known as referenced as John Doe was contacted at 15,004 Union Avenue Southwest, the McDonald's, after the store manager called police to report he was harassing customers. John Doe provided officers with a name and date of birth, did not return to any record. John Doe then provided a second date of birth and seemed to be confused about his age when asked. John Doe was taken into custody for providing false statements to a public servant without incident. During a search incident to arrest John Doe was found to be in possession of a used glass pipe commonly used to ingest illegal narcotics. John Doe was transported to Nisqually Jail and booked, but has not yet been identified. That was as of the officer's report. The name he gave, I was just going to verify, was Isaiah Washington.
Go ahead.
I personally contacted, Your Honor, so I'm speaking from personal knowledge. I personally contacted Nisqually Jail to find out if they had identified John Doe, and they identified him as Reginald Ford with the date of birth of 10/13/94. I don't have anything beyond that, as I've informed the officer as of this morning that he has been identified for them to complete the full investigation and make certain that the individual who is somewhat in front of the court is the individual involved in this case, so on and so forth. But that's as far as I've been able to get with it thus far this morning, Your Honor.
Okay. Based upon that, the court will find that there is probable cause to support the charge of making a false or misleading statement to a public servant, and will find, based on that record, that the individual that was booked in as a John Doe by the arresting officers appears to be the individual who is present in court virtually from the Nisqually Jail that has subsequently been identified as Reginald Dwayne Ford. Does the city wish to be heard regarding pretrial conditions of release?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, making the assumption that he is Reginald Ford, I did pull his criminal history. I see a number of prior cases with warrant activity, all within the last, I would say within the last 10 years or so. He is currently pending 2 counts of assault third out of Snohomish Superior as well. Your Honor, the concern the city has is that Mr. Ford would be unlikely to return if released by this court, noting especially that he gave a false name to perhaps avoid police involvement or police identification. So we would ask that he be held at this time on $2,500 with no law violations.
Ms. Capone?
Your Honor, I'll start with asking that the court appoint counsel from my office going forward. I'd ask that Mr. Ford be released on his own recognizance today, as these are nonviolent offenses before the court. Just allegations, and Mr. Ford is entitled to the presumption of innocence on those. Thank you.
Did we just lose the Nisqually jail? I'm sorry.
No,
Now it's back.
the computer went into sleep mode. They didn't see any movement, so they just shut it down.
And in the Nisqually jail, if we could get the camera turned back, thank you. All right, so court has reviewed the criminal history for Mr. Ford. The court does note that Mr. Ford did identify himself for the record by date of name and date of birth at the beginning of this hearing, although it was difficult to understand him at times. Court is going to appoint Ms. Capone's law firm based upon that record to represent Mr. Ford as his attorney of record in these matters. The court is not at all confident in the likelihood of Mr. Ford appearing for future hearings in this matter, based on the review of his criminal history, as well as based on, frankly, some of his conduct today. The court is going to impose bail as requested by the city. The court will impose bail in the amount of $2,500, cash or bond. Let me. Court will also note that the city will need to file an amended complaint listing out Mr. Ford's true name at their earliest convenience. Other conditions that the court will impose: Mr. Ford must appear on time for all scheduled court hearings, have no criminal law violations, update the court of any change of address, use only his true legal name and date of birth.
I just had a thought. Could you imagine these two in court together for trial? We got a public defender that shows so little emotion in her face that her mouth kind of turned upside down. Like it's like a permanent frown. I've never seen that before. And then we have a defendant that just sleeps. I'm telling you what, I think they could persuade a jury that this guy is innocent. Together, they would bring the fire. I can see it.
Court will also note an out of custody pretrial conference date. That'll be March 27th, 2025 at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, in the event that Mr. Ford is able to secure his release. And the court has signed that order. Mr. Ford, that concludes your hearing, sir. You can go ahead and let the officer know that you're done.
Oh, you heard that. He's alive, guys. He's alive. We're not showing an unalive person on my stream tonight. Nope. All right. Oh, you know what? I've got no words. I do have some gifted memberships I want to call out. Phil, thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. Welcome to the 5 new members. Thank you so much, Phil. You are awesome. I think we're going to Florida next. Judge Collier? Yep. Oh, I've got questions, guys. I need my whoever lives in Florida, or I guess it's not just Florida that might have this law, but this is an interesting one, and I've got questions. I've got questions. So stay tuned till after this clip because I'm gonna need my Floridians to answer some questions.
Mr. Atkinson, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
You have something with you?
This paper that I was supposed to fill out.
Okay, did you complete the
Yes.
application? Okay. All right, so I'm going to appoint the law office of Henry Mark Sims to represent you. And I'll call you back up. Looks like Mr. Hill is busy at the moment. All right, Mr. Atkinson, come on back up. Thank you. All right, Mr. Hill, Mr. Atkinson was up. I appointed your office to represent him.
Thank you, Judge. This is a arraignment today. We'll waive formal reading of the information in case 2527, entering not guilty plea on Mr. Atkinson's behalf. And Judge, I would ask that he come back for a pretrial on the May 6th docket. Allow me time to get the discovery, meet with Mr. Atkinson, and we'll know hopefully by then if this case is going to be headed toward a trial or possible resolution.
All right, looks like I was just handed a motion to revoke bond in this case.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Atkinson's received new misdemeanor charges while he's been out on bond.
Have you received a copy? Have you read this?
I have not, Judge. I just got appointed to represent it. I knew, I was aware, because just doing first appearances, Mr. Atkinson did have a new charge.
Can I speak to you, Mr. What's that? I mean, I've done filed for the month.
I like Florida. I've been to Florida, I don't know, probably a dozen or so times, and I've enjoyed myself every single time. Not a place I want to live. No offense to the Floridians. No offense. It's just the people down there. They're either old or they're on something. And then you have like the low population of normal people. But the majority of Florida is retirees or people that don't know what day it is. I don't know if that's a mean comment to make, but I think it might be. So I'll just shut my mouth. But here we go. Listen to what he's charged with, and this is where all the questions I have come in.
For the correct permit and everything.
Okay.
It's nothing but a permit.
Well, that may provide you with a defense to the deadhead logging charge, but I mean, it's not something.
We had the permit to pull the log. We just didn't know that we were unaware that we couldn't use a state access boat landing. I mean, we've already filed for the correct boat landing and everything.
Okay. Well, like I said, that may provide you with a defense to the charge, but it's not going to change the fact that there was probable cause to potentially arrest you for that charge. So that's where you're at. I mean, you're not here to say you're guilty or innocent of the deadhead logging case. It's just whether or not there was probable cause to believe you committed a new crime while you were out on bond is the issue. You certainly can. I mean, I would advise you not to make any incriminating statements.
Oh, sure. Raise your right hand.
About either case.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
So this is a logging case where we had a permit to pull the log. We just were unaware that we couldn't use a boat landing, a state boat landing. Since this, we've actually filed the permit we filed the paperwork for the correct permit to access the boat landing. I mean, we were completely unaware that we wasn't allowed to use that boat landing, that particular one, because it wasn't private. I mean, we were unaware. And like I said, since all that, we filed the paperwork and everything for the correct permit.
Okay. It looks like Judge McFarland's already found probable cause for that offense. So what I'll do, I'll grant the state's motion to revoke bond. I'm not going to hold you without bond, though. It's only, shouldn't say only, but taking into account the nature of the new law offense, I'm going to set you another bond at $5,000. You'll be taken into custody now, and you'll be released upon posting another bond of $5,000. We'll bring you back in this case,
May 6th, Judge,
May
please.
6th at 1:30.
Yes, sir.
All right, I don't know. I know it's in the Bay County area. I don't know if that's actually Bay County, though. I don't know where Judge Collier, what county he actually resides over. But I do know it's in the same group of judges of the Bay County, because Judge Van says Judge Collier's name all the time. So it's in that area. Anyways, here's my question. I actually looked up what this deadhead logging is, or whatever the term was. And it's when, loggers actually remove the trees that are in the water. Apparently, you need a permit to do that. You can't just go and, take out trees from the water if you're a logger instead of cutting them down. I'm going to guess you have to have a permit to do either one, but they were removing them from the water, and they were using a public access pier to do it, and that's what got him the charge. Since he's on probation or bond, I don't know which one they said, but because he's on one of them, he's going to jail for that. So he was working as a logger and got charged because he was using a public access pier. I would be upset about that if I was that guy. He kept his poise and he walked away. He's like, all right, well, this sucks. But he got a new charge. And I guess by rule, the judge did say, I'm not going to revoke your bond. I am going to, however, give you a new one till this resolves. The defendant did say since the incident happened, he got the proper permit so he could, do whatever he was doing. But my question, why is it illegal to take floating wood out of the water? Somebody in Florida tell me that. Why is that illegal? I feel like that's cleaning up the water. Just saying. I think this is one of those. I don't know. There has to be some part of this I don't understand, but it just doesn't make sense to me. The using a public access pier, okay, I can see that. There's probably a lot of equipment because that wood's going to be heavy to remove from the water. I can see that being a citation, but an actual misdemeanor to get his bond revoked seems like a lot. Yeah, that could be a nature thing. And yeah, the waterways are public. He did say he had a permit to do it. He just didn't have a permit to use the public access, I think is what he said. And he didn't know he needed a special permit for that. It just this seems a little weird. No, just like, a storm comes in and knocks a bunch of trees down, so you just have residual tree logs essentially in the water, and they were removing the logs from the water to use as wood to probably dry them out. I don't know, make wood chips out of them, maybe firewood. I don't know. I'm sure that the integrity of the wood's destroyed, so you can't build anything with it. But I mean, once it's dried out, you can use it for a lot of things, for burning purposes. Anyways, that was my question. Just for anyone that knows the area and has the answer to my questions, I would appreciate it. All right, let's move on.
Case is Chroma. Mr. Chroma has 2 cases, which should have been, it looks like pay only probation for driving on a suspended or a revoked license. Mr. Carmichael.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm moving between the calendars and the petitions, so I'm not signing right now because it's too hard to navigate through all of these. But once I finish the calendar, then I'll be signing. So anything you need me to sign, just go ahead and put it in the queue and I'll go ahead and sign it. All right. I'm waiting on Mr. Chroma.
Judge, this is Mr. Chroma.
Mr. Chroma, raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay, you can put your hand down, sir. Someone's asking me if I said their name, but I don't know what your name is because all I see is Samsung. So I don't know what your name is just by looking on the calendar. Who's here under Samsung? Yeah, Miss Allen, I did. I've been calling your name all morning, several times this morning. So yeah, I had that you weren't here. So hold on a second. Yeah, I was asking because I even said she set up the calendar. She put her name on the calendar, so I don't know why she's not here. Hold on a second. All right, so Ms. Allen is here. So we'll revisit her case in a moment. So I have before me Mr. Matalese Abendigo Chroma. Mr. Chroma, you're before the court on 2021 CR 03992 and 2021 CR 03994 for driving on a suspended or revoked license 2 times. You were before this court and took a plea on the 29th day of September 2022, sentenced to 12 months on probation. You have 2 months and 23 days remaining. The sentence was told, and this is your second revocation. So you failed to report on June 26th of 2023. You failed to complete the community service. Your hours were commuted to community service, 145 hours of community service. You failed to pay, and you're $912 in arrears. So Mr. Lynch, why hasn't Mr. Chroma been able to do what I asked him to do?
I'll let Mr. Chroma explain that in his own words at this point.
Okay, but when I was doing about the paying part, I had got into an accident, so that's why they had tried to switch over to the community service, right? I got into an accident, so I wasn't working at the time. So then when I was doing the community service, I was trying to do one like closer to where I lived at. He was saying come out here, but I ain't had no transportation to really come out here that early. So I was trying to do community service closer to where I lived at. So he put in for like a revocation here, but he told me to do the community service, however much I was able to accumulate by the time I came to court. So that's what I did. But then when I came to court, I was like late. I was late for court. And then I never saw nobody. That was the last that I had heard from. I had did probably like 40.
Mr. Chroma, how many hours of community service did you do, sir?
I probably did like 40 some hours at Brady Gym back then.
Brady Jail?
Brady Gym. College Park community, like the community center in College Park.
Okay, and you don't have the paperwork or anything?
No, I had it the day when I came to court. I had it.
But Mr. Chroma, here's the problem, sir. We've been dealing with this case since 2022. In all of that time, you could have made some money. You could have worked side jobs and made the amount of money necessary to pay what we asked you to pay. You could have actually been doing your community service since I changed it to 140 hours of community service, and you could have been done. I don't understand why folk won't just, you know, my husband has this saying, and he says it all the time, drives me nuts, but he was like, I got to get it done. I got to get it done. Y'all don't want to get anything done. It's like you okay with the threat of jail hanging over your head, but if jail was hanging over my head, the first thing I would do is my 145 hours of community service. And I told you, I don't care where you do it. I didn't ask you to come back to Clayton County to do it. I've never done that. I've always said to people, do the community service where it's close to you or convenient to you, where you're going to get it done. My priority is that you get it done, not that you do it in Clayton County.
Yeah, my PO, he wasn't allowing me to do it anywhere at first.
Your PO will take whatever I say he will take. And I'm not down in Mr. Carmichael because he's amazing. But what I'm saying to you is
I had to do a day of community service once. I back, I don't know, this is 7, 8 years ago. I missed jury service. I was given the notice to appear for jury service, and yeah, I missed it. I didn't get it. And I got a another message after missing it that I had to go in for contempt of court. And when I went in, and my excuse was I just didn't see it. I mean, which was the truth. I didn't see it, and the judge gave me 8 hours of community service. So yeah, I have, like I said, that was about 8 years ago. So I spent 8 hours picking up trash. I did, and I did it the next day too. It was the very next day I did it. Like I'm not gonna push this off. It was right before winter. Let's say it was like in November maybe, and it was right when it was starting to get cold. Like she gave me I think one month, maybe 2 months to do it. So like, I'm just doing this now before it's gonna be done. But yeah, I spent 8 hours picking up trash for missing jury service about 8 years ago. Yeah, that was fun. That was a lot of fun.
You're making excuses.
I
If
had,
you brought in hours here from the nonprofit down the street from your house, if you lived in Timbuktu and they could certify that it was a certified nonprofit, I would take the hours. So what I'm saying to you is don't make excuses, Mr. Chroma. You're making excuses. How old are you?
37.
Mr. Chroma, first of all, let's talk about the fact that you had 2 back-to-back driving on a suspended or revoked license, which means that you either didn't show up for court or you're not paying child support. Those are the 2 main reasons that they will take your license. So which one is it?
It was child support.
Okay. So that right there tells me you ain't doing what you're supposed to do, because you got kids out there that you're not supporting. And then I can see why you're not supporting them. You're not even doing probation. When I didn't say give me money, I said give me time. You're not doing anything you're supposed to do, Mr. Chroma. You're 37 years old and you're acting like a teenager. They're supposed to be irresponsible. You, sir, are not. Get it together. You brought kids into this world and you just slacking. Just slacking. If this is what you are teaching them, they're going to end up in an orange jumpsuit. This ain't a murder charge. This is driving on a suspended or revoked license. We're asking for money or time. You can't give me either. Neither one.
Oh, I've done it since I've moved. So that was in Cincinnati. But since I've moved up here, I think within 2 months that I moved up here, I was again requested for jury service, and I did it. I did one day. Yeah, it was I did. I loved it. I think I was the only person excited to be there, but it was fun. But yeah, 8 years ago, no, I was not. I did not feel the same way. But I did honestly just miss it. I didn't ignore it. I didn't choose not to go. I just absolutely missed the notification. And I did find it, so that's how I know. Because my thing was they never sent it to me or it got lost in the mail. Like I didn't see it, but this was I don't know. It was a chaotic time in my life, and I just had this like junk table full of mail, and they sent it on a little postcard. It wasn't in a letter. It was a little postcard. So yeah, I absolutely missed it.
You are being trifling, as the old people would say. Not doing what you need to do, lazy, and not working like you should be working. Sir, if you are a parent in this world, your children deserve better than to have somebody who can't even get probation done. Because I know if you're not doing probation because you got the probation because you failed to pay your child support. So I know if you can't get some community service hours done in probation, I know you're not doing nothing for them. Get it together. Man up. I know folk with 2 and 3 and 4 jobs out here just working. I know people who started with a lawnmower doing people's lawns, and now they got a 0-turn motor and a truck because they have worked themselves into that. But you sitting here giving me excuses. Well, see, what had happened was, well, I couldn't do it, and my PO wouldn't want me to do it outside of Clayton County because did it all crazy, just crazy. Get it together. You are 37 years old. Before you know it, you'll be 55. And you know what? You won't have nothing. You won't even have kids who want to spend time with you because you ain't doing nothing for them. So get it together, sir. What's the recommendation, Mr. Carmichael?
Probation recommends serve 30 days, credit for time served, closed case.
All right, Mr. Lynch?
Judge, from speaking to my client, he does currently have employment. He works for the Amazon, he works with the Amazon Distribution Center. I'm sorry, Google Distribution Center. And Judge, we would ask that you sentence him to 20 days, credit for time served, close the case. I think that would be, in terms of a driving on a suspended license case, I think 10 days per case would be a reasonable.
Yeah, it would be, except he hasn't, this is his second revocation, Mr. Lynch. His second one, which means that I've already given him another chance and he blew it. And Mr. Lynch, let you in on a little secret. He ain't helping his kids. So why should I care what he's doing? If he was applying and helping his kids, maybe that would help me. But he ain't helping them.
Can I say something about that, Your Honor?
Yes, please, sir.
Because, like you saying, what I ain't doing with my kids, I got put on child support like 6 years later from a child that I didn't even know that was mine, that I never even took a test for. I got put on child support because I didn't go to court to take the test during COVID because I didn't have no ID. But they just still put me on.
Answer, sir, please. Every time you open your pie hole, you get it worse trouble. So stay the course, will you?
By me not going to court, it was like I waived my rights. So now
you did.
Yeah, but I didn't know that. So then it had all that back child support. That's what ended up suspending my license.
Mr. Chroma, you didn't go to court. You just should have put a mask on and gone to court. Why would you ignore court because you didn't have a ID? You could have shown up and told them who you were.
At that time, that was my first time dealing with it. But they just automatically put me on child support for a child.
So you just thought if you didn't go, they weren't gonna do anything.
I got to go to court on the 10th of this month to get them to do a DNA test for the child. But I still been on child support all the years for a child. I don't even know if he's mine or not.
Mr. Chroma, you could have asked for a DNA test years ago.
All right, this might be very controversial and it could potentially get me in trouble. But I'm going to say it anyways. I absolutely hate this argument. We don't know who the father is. I'm not the mother was sleeping with a bunch of people. She can't prove it was me. You spent the time and you did the act. You're not saying that you didn't. So it's just take responsibility. Just take the responsibility. You did it. And all you're doing is punishing the kid by going into and fighting. All you're doing is making that separation even worse. Don't just if you didn't want the allegation of potentially having a kid, you shouldn't have slept with her. There we go. If I upset some people with that, I apologize, but I absolutely hate the argument. That's not my kid. You slept with her, man.
Yep, and every time I asked the woman for a DNA test, because the court said I had to go through the woman now, since I didn't make it to the court. Every time I asked the woman for a DNA test, she disappeared. So now I finally been able to get it where the court is gonna do it for me. I had to go through a program with the court. So now on the 10th, I gotta go and do it.
Which court, Mr.? Which court? City of Atlanta?
Yeah, City of Atlanta. I gotta go do a legitimize, and they said through that they're gonna do the DNA test.
All right, Mr. Chroma, I'll give you 20 days credit for time served. Balance will be suspended and case closed. But sir, let me tell you something. Whether you are this child's father or not, certain things you don't do. You don't ignore court notices. They're not going to just drop it because you don't show up. That just means you don't care enough to show up, and they're going to do what they want to do. We clear? If this is your child, then at some point you agreed to lay down with the person and make a baby. So be a dad. Try and be a force of good in this child's life.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
third, okay, start getting yourself together. Because even though you got a job at the Amazon distribution center, that wasn't helping you in this situation because you wasn't doing anything to pay your way out of what was essentially fines and fees. You have worked a case that was, okay, pay your fines and fees, and I'm just giving you extra time to do it, into 2 appearances before the court, 2 times you've been arrested for probation violation, and even now 30 days because you haven't done anything. Every time you turn around, you got an excuse for something. Well, I didn't go to court and they put the child support on me. No, I didn't go to court. And so the court did what they do, which was to grant a default because I didn't go to contest it and say this child might not be mine. Stop letting stuff happen to you.
Yeah, Wixom, we played that case on my channel. Yeah, we played that here.
All right, you can go back to the sheriff's office.
And Your Honor, that was my only case. May I be excused?
All right. Terrapin, thank you so much for the 5 months. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You were awesome. All right. We're moving into the last case of the evening. And I like to keep it interesting. I like to leave you guys on a smile, and not gonna say this is a feel-good clip because I get in trouble for that, but yeah, this is a weird one. It's a weird one, and it's a good way to end our weekend. Yeah, just to let you know. This one's weird. All right, let's go.
Miss Lovett, so ma'am, your case was transferred to Superior Court. It's being prosecuted as a felony when you get, huh?
Oh, it was transferred. What? I didn't do anything.
Okay, I get that, ma'am, but the prosecutor has reviewed the case and they're sending it to be prosecuted upstairs. What will happen is you will have the opportunity to have another arraignment upstairs and they will appoint an attorney to you upstairs, okay?
But listen, I've been here 5 months. This is the first time I see a judge.
Well, you're seeing me now, but I don't know how long it'll be before you have the arraignment judge upstairs.
I never seen no one. Today is the first day in 5 months. And my release was January 7th. I was supposed to leave then. And they running my cards here and my New York State food stamp cards. They using my accounts and my phones. So
okay,
I'm not. So look, I came from here to go to FBI, so they could have I haven't heard from them this summer. They stole my information years ago with these psychiatrists, Fry and Beck. I don't have no history of no kind of criminal background, no psych, or none of that. And I was in the airport, and they had stole my cards and took a Walker card. A Walker card was in New York. I found it. I never used it, but I know it's coming from. It's coming to my account. They're using M right here. They stole another $1,300 right before I got here, and this Officer Gomez. They're using my account with Chase with brand new cars, and I'm paying the tickets. They took another 4.
All right. No, Miss Lovett.
I'm here. Look, I have not been outside 3 times for 4.5 months, like 10 days. The 5 months, they locked me down. They giving my information, my food, my money, my stuff to every psych person or anybody on medication, and my mental card was stolen. And they using the same cops is giving my information for their friends.
The
Okay.
sheriff had stole my stuff in Douglasville, and I didn't even live here. This is my market that has my name on it. My money that comes to my account that's stolen. My tic-tac-toe.
Miss Lovett, need you to calm down for Miss
that comes
Lovett.
behind my
Miss Lovett. Miss Lovett, I can't explain to you what this says if you're not gonna calm down, okay?
No, because I'm being treated. Look at my hair. I came here with a full hair of hair. Now somebody operating and
Miss Lovett, Lovett, calm down. Talk to me.
I got big old stuff.
But I need you to calm down because I can't understand what you're saying. Okay?
Okay.
The last time you were supposed to come up, they wouldn't bring you up because you were so agitated. Now
That's
just
not
calm.
true.
Okay. Miss
They
Lovett.
lying.
Miss
They
Lovett.
lying. I haven't listened.
Miss Lovett. What part of New York you from?
Brooklyn.
Me too.
Born in Brooklyn, and they keep chasing my life.
Okay, Miss Lovett, talk to me. All right? Born and raised, Kings County. So listen to me. Okay? Now, what they are saying, now before you talk, let me explain what's going on, and then you can tell me what the problem is, okay? They are saying that you were at the airport and there was a Delta Airlines passengers that had baggage. The baggage was taken from the airport, which is a felony, and that the baggage was in your possession.
Right, but I slept over.
I am going to tell you this. I did not know that that was a felony. And I've often wondered that. Hold on. Excuse me. I did not know that was a felony. I'm happy it is. Especially with a lot of these airports that are in like in the cities. You see a lot of these in court where, you know, the homeless will go in there. It's essentially, you know, walk in there, you can sit there for hours, warm, you have a bathroom. So like it crossed my mind that they could just walk up and grab a bag and leave. But I'm glad to know it's a felony. So, and I'm sure that they keep an eye on that. It's just one of those things that's always been in my head. To Doggy Mama, thank you so much for becoming a new member. I appreciate it. Welcome to the family. You are awesome. And Cheshire Cat, rent payment, it's cramped in here. Help. Thank you, Cheshire Cat. I appreciate it. All right. We're almost done with this, guys.
Because I was waiting for someone for the bag. I didn't walk out the airport. I was still there overnight, and they wanted me to sign a trespassing ticket, and I said no because they didn't sign. They didn't.
Okay. How did you?
She took a bag from the airport. She walked in, took a bag, and left. Is what she's charged with. So that's yeah.
Fly in that day?
No, that was somebody else. This is my brother's is Douglas Lovett. That's the same bag that I'm waiting for it. I told somebody, listen, I said, somebody's coming to fix the bag. I'm coming back. This is the day before. I went out a couple of hours. I came back. I waited. I stayed out there. No cop said nothing. I stayed overnight. And that morning, now, the same woman in travel, my cars is being run for every brand new car on my account that comes in that
all right. So
this
is what needs to happen. This case is going to be transferred, but we're also going to let them know that you may have been the victim of a identity theft. And they have, wait, listen to me. They have investigators in the DA's office who will investigate that because it's connected to this case. So if you're a victim of identity theft, they can't prosecute you if you're not the right person.
Because this is why I came back down here from.
But what I'm saying is we got to let them know this, okay?
No, now they do, because listen, I came back from
Miss Lovett.
Because the FBI have my information.
Okay, Miss Lovett, calm down.
I am the victim of identity theft, and they know it. They keep anything of mine. You give me birthdays, they change my social in 3rd Avenue in Brooklyn.
Okay.
510.
But Miss Lovett, we're gonna get this cleared up, but I'm gonna need you to calm down and go back with the sheriff, okay? Let me figure out who needs to have the information that you gave me, okay?
They stole another number.
I got you, but hold on. Don't give me
516.
everything right. Hold on. Don't give me everything until I get the right person who needs to have all of this information, okay?
Okay, so what you have to look back on January 7th, they came to the cell.
I got you. I remember that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna find out who needs to hear all of this, okay?
Yeah, it's in the cow.
Wait, I know, so I can get them on that identity then. All right, go back with Deputy Whitson for me.
Oops, let it play too far. I was setting up the reroute, our raid, and yeah, I let it go too far without pausing. Sorry. We are raiding Law Talk with Mike tonight. He is the only one streaming. I've been a big fan of Law Talk with Mike for a long time. You guys know this. I generally don't raid him because I like raiding other people that are smaller that could use the extra views. But he's the only one out on tonight, so we're gonna go hang out with him. And yeah, just make sure you say hi to him. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys all for the super chats, the gifted memberships, the new members. You guys are all awesome. I will see you tomorrow night for members only Monday. We got a crazy week this week, guys. I think I've got 5 sovereign citizens on the schedule, 2 jury trials this week, and a bench trial for sovereign citizens. So it's gonna be a week. It's gonna be a week. So stay tuned. All right. Yeah. Go tell Make I said hi and I sent you. I will see you guys tomorrow. If not tomorrow, I will see you Tuesday. Until next time, bye.